So this video, of course, is about Mythic Wayland, and Mythic Wayland will be a gold mythic and available in the museum with mythic tokens. He is extremely low on the mythic rewards. You only need 20 mythic tokens to get him, which is quite easy to come by. I'm going to advertise my calculator every single mythic that is in here just because it is definitely worth keeping on top of this. But Wayland is, like I say, quite early in there, and it looks like he's actually pretty decent. Let's take a little look. Hello survivors, and welcome to another Walking Dead Road to Survival video. And in this video we're going to be taking a first look at Wayland, who is going to be getting a mythic character once the Conquest update drops. Visually, I would say this guy is probably my favorite looking character thus far. He looks very Viking-esque. You know, he's got the tribal paint on his eyes, he's got the furs around him as well, but he has also got the armor underneath. We see the weapon he has in his hands. It's the double-handed hammer, and it's hot. We had this with a 6-star Wayland where he had like a very hot sword. This time he's getting like a hot hammer. But it does look really good, and he is the guy you want in the armory, isn't he? You know, he is that armorer. And hopefully here's the one that you get in the armory. If we look on the left hand side, his art obviously looks nuts as well. All of the art looks great, but this guy for me really does stand out. It hits a lot of the things I just love, honestly. When we look at this guy's stats, we'll check him out. As a tier 5 gold mythic at level 600, he gets 13,354 attack, 14,542 defense, and 13,227 HP. He is a strong character with that double-handed hammer. Makes sense. He is considered a support character, so that obviously will influence some of the passives he will get. The one passive at least. And he is of course a mythic character. He is part of the Knights, so he is going to be the second character to come into the mythics as part of the Knights. The other character we have is Aaron. So this is definitely something to note long term. But it is interesting to see the characters that are coming in and what allegiances they have. Now we'll take a look at his adrenaline rush, and it is called Arms Advantage. It is a 66 AP cost rush, which is reasonably fast. Deal 2 attacks of 200% damage, which is 400% total to one enemy. 2 teammates get 50% disarm resistance for 2 turns and 20 AP. So overall this rush actually has quite a lot going on compared to some of the other mythic characters. It does quite a bit of damage, 2 attacks of 200% to one enemy. Obviously, as you know, the way it works, if you take down one enemy, it will move on to the next. The on attack weapons will work, so will enemies on defense weapons. So it's, you know, there's a double-edged sword there. The 2 teammates getting 50% disarm resistance is nice. Now you see the visual bug right now. I am on a slightly older version of the alpha build right now. I am meant to be updating. I was actually meant to update yesterday, but I did ask if I could just record the videos that I needed to get out this week first, just in case there were any issues with the alpha, which I've had in the past, unfortunately. So hopefully everything goes smooth, but basically that's meant to look like the 50% resistance logo and icon, and that basically will give someone a base 50% chance resistance. I don't believe this stacks with mods, so you won't get up to like 100% disarm resistance. Not many people will use disarm resistance as a mod anyway, but it is just worth noting that I don't think this would stack with mods. The last part is the really interesting part for me in this rush. Those 2 teammates will also get 20 AP. Now, AP bonuses from rushes, from signature moves, and from passives are going to be extremely powerful, especially on attack teams, because you're going to lack AP where you would normally get it from the leader. So you're going to need characters that do this. You're going to need weapons that do this. This is why I think 20% AP to self weapons are going to be really important. 8% weapons are going to be really important. Rushes like this are going to be very, very important. Okay, so we are going to rush. It is my rush turn. I'm going to focus Abraham here, and we are going to do some damage. We are going to give Negan and Jesus the disarm resistance, but they should also get the AP. Watch what happens when it comes to their rushes. This is what is going to be so important, because natural rushing is going to be quite difficult, and AP gain from other sources like rushes, signature moves, passives, and weapons are going to be extremely important to get those rushes off quickly. So in my mind, while this guy can do a reasonable amount of damage, it's not going to be terrible. He is definitely living up to that support role just because of that 20 AP. It may not seem that significant, but it will make a massive difference. Two characters are potentially going to rush where they wouldn't otherwise. It isn't a percentage either, it's a flat AP, and 20 AP for Mythic characters is much more powerful than 20 AP was for S-Class, because the majority of Mythic characters will have slightly faster rushes. They'll be in the 55 to 66 range, generally speaking, from what I've seen. And this will obviously just allow them to rush a turn earlier where they otherwise would not. Rushes are the name of the game. Having a character rush earlier is pretty much always going to be the best option. However, if you can't rush, you can go to the signature moves, of course. And signature move that Wayland's going to have is called Shocking Strike. It has an initial cooldown of turn 2, cooldown of 2 turns, so pretty quick. You know, you're going to be doing it turn 2 and turn 4. So it'll be basic attack, signature move, rush, signature move. So it'll be quite a nice sequence for Wayland here. Attack an enemy for 120% damage. One other enemy gets disarmed for 2 turns. Again, same issue. I'm on an old alpha build, so we're going to have a little bit of issues when it comes to some of the visual icons just for the moment on this character. I do apologize, but this obviously is going to be quite nice just based on the fact that he will obviously get AP from this. We talked about this. I'm going to just remind you every time, signature moves always give 35 AP. Other things can come into effect. For instance, if someone has a reflect mod and they actually reflect, you will get more AP because of that. Any on defense weapons, so like stun on defense, will work. Any on attack on his weapons will work. That's just how signature moves function. Okay, so we are on turn 2 and I can use the signature moves. You can see I did focus a character on turn 1. He is reasonably weak. We might be able to finish him off here. I should gain the 35 AP, so I should go up to the 63. And we should disarm another enemy. Let's see what happens. We aren't actually going to be able to finish him off. He's going to have a sliver of HP, and that 20% defense buff is coming into good use. You can look at the top right hand corner. You can see that Gator is now disarmed. So it did obviously disarm a character on that defense team, which is going to be just that little extra bit of a bonus. So that if I did take down Abraham here and it was a windowless team, I would then have somewhere to go with the rest of my attacks. The disarm, of course, would reduce the potential output of an attack team as well. And we did see the stats of Wayland. He is a bit more defensive, kind of like Jesus was a little bit more defensive, kind of like Beta was a little bit more defensive. So some of these characters look like there may be, especially the support characters, so they've got a bit of potential on both teams. I don't mind that too much. I definitely see the potential of Wayland on attack just because of that AP gain on the rush. But on defense, he's definitely got potential as well because of his stat balance. Now we'll see what else he brings to the table for defense or attack when it comes to his passives, and I do think that passives are going to have a massive impact on the viability of where a character can be used. He is of course got cunning because he is a support character. When attacking or being attacked, 15% less likely to trigger enemy weapon effects and walker effects. This is obviously great. It means, let's say he is on a defense team, I attack him with a double attack weapon, he's got 15% chance for the double attack just not to take place. There are some things you just can't normally resist, but Wayland and other support characters will be able to do that. He has got 3 passives of his own. The first is aim, which means he has got 40 base crits, so he's going to have a crit value of 50 because every character has 10 crit just off the base. He gets 40 bonus, and then on top of that could have 15 35s around him, potentially mods to get more crit if you so wish. The next passive is called I Love My Job. When performing the disarming specialist skill, spoiler alert, heal this character by 10% of their max HP. So that's actually quite nice for either attack or defense. You're just going to be getting some sustain there. I like that quite a lot. The last one is Weapons Expert. Weapons equipped to this character are 15% more likely to trigger their effects. This is interesting. So if you have a stun on attack weapon on this character, because he's a strong character, he can have stun on attack, that's more likely to actually happen. But it is also worth noting that if he is got AP down on him, he's less likely to be a window. It's more likely to actually trigger AP down. And that could potentially be really powerful for defense teams. Okay, so here we are on turn 2. I've taken an extremely limited team on purpose just for giving Wayland a better chance to be focused and take some damage, because I wanted to show you what it would be like with his reduced HP. All of his passives will play into him being healed back up. Basically, he has a better chance to hit a crit because of the 40 aim. If he does hit that crit, because of the another passive he's got, he will hit a disarm and he'll heal himself for 10% HP. He has got a healing stun weapon in his hands, and his last passive was giving him a 15% extra chance to actually make that hit. So if that does actually happen and he stuns the enemy, he will also get healed when that happens. So we'll basically focus Abraham in the bottom right hand corner right now. We could do a basic attack to make this happen, which we did do on turn 1. However, on turn 2, you might as well just use a signature move on a percentage damage signature move, because they can crit, of course. So we're going to use the signature move. We are going to hit the crit. Did we hit the stun as well? I think that's the stun from the turn before if it's 1 turn. It's 2 turns, so we hit both, and we just healed for 25% HP, and that's basically what can happen. And obviously the next turn will heal for another 15%. The sustain will just keep going, and we're going to be getting a natural rush on the 3rd turn. And of course, if you did get that rush off, that would be 20 AP to 2 teammates. If they haven't got their rush up already, they potentially would on that turn. So overall, I do like Wayland's kit quite a lot. His passives help him a lot on attack, and I think they'll be quite useful for defense. Sustain's always nice, healing yourself back up. You would have to go for a healing stun weapon to get the best out of it, sustain-wise, on a defense team, and that would be obviously you being a window, but you could go for that AP down and have yourself 15% more likely chance to trigger that as well. So that's, again, quite interesting. It is worth noting as well, obviously, that he can hit the 10% HP on each individual hit on his rush, and he can also hit the 15% heal on each individual hit on his rush from the weapon, so he could potentially heal himself for 50% HP on his rush if everything was to proc. Because those are 2 separate attacks, that's just how it works. Now, you saw it in action. He is, of course, a disarm specialist. It's hard to get away from. A lot of the time, the passives are going to play into the specialist abilities, and a lot of the kit's going to revolve around what the specialist ability brings as well. But you can also see the logo from the get-go. But disarm is obviously nice. It's going to stop weapons being just as powerful on defense teams. Allow yourself to have an in for AP gain, especially on a defense team. Like I said before, you can disarm things that are generally quite frustrating, quite powerful. Splash damage, double attack, these sort of things that are going to amplify damage. Disarming those is not necessarily going to be a terrible thing. And like his passives already showed, he will get a bonus if he actually hits those disarms. Now, Wayland has got an attached weapon, and we're going to check out the visuals. We saw it in the art. It's on fire. So my guess is once this is fully upgraded to be that, diamond masterwork level weapon, it's going to look really nice. Hopefully like it is on fire on the left-hand side. It is just a blacksmith's hammer at the beginning. We can see how, the start, how it started, and then obviously potentially where it finished. It does come with 30 crit base, a medium bonus to AP when attacking. This can change, obviously. Scopely have said they're going to be looking at all the attached weapons for the mythic characters and updating them. But I would potentially myself go for a stat rather than crit. I do think crit is one of the worst things you can put on a weapon just because it's flat. Percentages are always just so powerful, and especially considering the amount of damage, defense, and HP every mythic character brings to the table with their stats. A 30% increase there, you're talking about like 4,000 to 5,000 of stat. It's going to be just so much more powerful than 30 crit. If you want to go for crit, mods and weapon 4 slot bonuses, or teammates, adjacent teammates with the 1535s is generally the best way to go. So I actually like Wayland quite a lot, and I kind of hate it in a way because it just seems like I'm really biased towards strong characters, and it's been that way forever, and I'm not sure what it is about, but I just see the strong characters that I'm seeing I really like a lot. And yeah, I think Wayland could potentially be in that really nice attack team. He's going to play into a lot of my ideas of what could make a really good team. And I just love the AP gain that he brings to the table. And he is going to basically be a command because he's going to be bringing AP to characters that didn't necessarily have their rush otherwise. So you're going to see that be very influential in your success rate on attack teams. On defense teams, I don't think it will be as important because of the 40% bonus they get on defense. But however, there could be that character that didn't have their rush you know, got AP drained or something, and he could boost them, and it could be like that surprise rush that people weren't expecting. That would be quite frustrating to deal with. And like I said before, 100% visually, Wayland definitely brings it to the table. He is definitely my #1 pick when it comes to the visuals so far. There are, of course, quite a few more characters to look at, but I do like the way Wayland looks. So do tell me your thoughts. Give me them down in the comments. What do you think of Wayland's visuals? What do you think of his kit? What do you think of Wayland as a mythic character? You can, of course, get him in the museum with your mythic tokens like I showed in the intro. So I think a lot of people are going to be quite happy with getting this guy on their roster. That is going to be the end of my video this time around though, guys. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button. If you want to find out when my videos come out in the future, hit subscribe, turn on notifications to be notified when my videos actually go live, when my live streams start. But that is the end of this video today, guys. I want to thank you very much for tuning in, and as always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.